What's up, guys? Big Ape 93 here today, and today we're going to be talking about the WWE Draft that happened last night. We're going to talk about, was it a complete failure or was it a secret success? For weeks leading into this draft, the talk was that we're going to make SmackDown relevant again. We're going to make it a great brand. It's going to rival Raw. But with WWE, we all knew they really weren't going to make SmackDown the alpha show with the rules of the draft revealed this past Monday. Here's how the rules for the draft played out. Raw had the first overall pick, and since SmackDown is a 2-hour show and Raw is a 3-hour show, for every 2 picks SmackDown got, Raw got 3. And in an odd change of pace from the previous drafts, tag teams counted as 1 pick unless the commissioner or general manager specifically wanted 1 member of the team. And also threw in for fun, 6 of the draft picks would be made off of the NXT roster. So anyway, let's get into this. Who was the first overall pick this year? Would it be the suspended Roman Reigns, or perhaps the WWE Champion Dean Ambrose? Well, the correct answer is neither. The first overall draft pick of the 2016 draft was none other than Seth Rollins. So, Raw got the first pick and they picked Seth Rollins, so SmackDown immediately counters with Dean Ambrose. Now, I know a lot of people were thinking they were going to keep the Shield members on one show so they could further that storyline at some point, and I'm kind of glad they didn't because they can save it for another time if they ever decide to go back to that. Now, in order to keep down on the time constraints here, I'm not going to talk about every single pick, only a couple of the major ones and what the landscape's going to look like now that the draft has happened. And if you didn't get a chance to watch the draft or you haven't seen the picks yet, I'll leave a link in the description below from the official WWE website, and you can read all about the picks there. So, speaking of the Shield, Dean went to SmackDown, Seth went to Raw, so where did Roman Reigns wind up? Well, he wound up on Raw, to be exact. One can assume that means Seth will probably regain the title at Battleground, and they will have Roman and Seth feud for a little while. Now, the next 2 major picks I want to talk about are John Cena and Randy Orton being drafted to SmackDown. Believe it or not, a lot of people have been surprised by this because a lot of the people I've talked to said it really surprised them. But for me, I kind of saw it coming because they're both on their way out over the next few years. While only Randy Orton and John Cena themselves know how long they plan to stick around, we do know that Cena is working a lighter schedule load and is going to focus more on Hollywood now, so his time is winding down. Do I personally like the move for them two to be on SmackDown? Absolutely. They're moving it to a live slot. It's going to need a little bit of star power to help get it back on the ground again because not everyone watches SmackDown. Well, you have Randy Orton, John Cena, and Dean Ambrose on SmackDown. Who else could you possibly throw into that mix? Why, none other than AJ Styles. So, SmackDown got all of those, so who else could they possibly add into the mix? Well, Bray Wyatt's on SmackDown now. So, you got the major picks out of the way for SmackDown, so where does SmackDown stand now? Now, I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but with all the picks SmackDown got, I think they're looking pretty good. The future is bright for SmackDown, assuming the booking doesn't kill it. So, let's say SmackDown gets really good booking for the time being. Them being in a live spot, which means no more spoilers, and them being 2 hours, I think that is a good formula to top Raw on most nights. Because the way I look at it anymore, people are going to be a lot more able and willing to sit through a 2-hour show that is live every week rather than the 3rd hour of Raw that always seems to just chug along so slowly most nights. So let's get into the Raw side of things. How did they end up after this draft was said and done? So, as far as the Raw major picks go, in my opinion, they started out with Seth Rollins, followed by Charlotte, followed by the highly anticipated draft pick of Finn Balor from NXT. We then got Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, The New Day, and wrapping that up, they got Kevin Owens. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be saying, well, there was other major picks besides those. Well, these are just the ones that I felt like were really major picks in my mind, so it's nothing against the other ones. As for the state of the titles in WWE, it looks like from everything that I can understand that's been released so far, at the moment, everything's going to be floating back and forth. So until we get actual confirmation of there being double titles again, just assume everything's going to be floating back and forth. But while we're on that subject, let me know in the comments below if you think there should be double titles for everything again, as far as the women's and tag and world titles go. So, to answer the question that I posed at the beginning of this, was this draft a success or was it a failure? Well, until we get more confirmation on what the title scene is going to be like, I'm going to say it was actually pretty successful for what it was. As far as this draft goes, I think it did a good job at shaking everything up. That's what the point of the draft is to do, to make things spicy and new again. I mean, come on guys, we've certainly had worse drafts than this one, especially the one where Cena went back and forth all night. That was a horrible draft. As for those of you that were against bringing the draft back in the first place or didn't like how the draft went, that's okay, because we all know WWE is never going to please everybody. And the day that WWE pleases every fan and there's no complaints is the day we all die. I'm just going to say that, because it's true. And that's about all I have for you guys in this video today, so let me know in the comments below if you did or you did not like the draft. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked what you saw here today, make sure you drop a like. And if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe. And if you want to keep up with everything else wrestling or geek related, you can always like my Facebook page or follow me on Twitter. As always, thank you guys for watching, and you have a wonderful day.